Are you looking for a space where you will learn to improve your mental strength, emotional health, and heal your insecurities from the inside out? Take the first step to living a more meaningful life with the Better Me with Body by Bree podcast. I'm your host, Bree. I'm a certified personal trainer, entrepreneur, and mother of 3. I've helped empower thousands of women to take action through fitness, nutrition, meditation, personal development, and aligning thoughts with action. This podcast is for those who are ready to feel inspired and motivated to live a more purposeful life. Let's grow together. Have you ever felt like if you just lost the weight, that you would be the happiest version of yourself and that you would have all of your problems be solved? Well, I have trainer Lindsey on the podcast, and after we competed together, she ended up having hormonal issues and she had gained 50 pounds in the matter of a few months. And then she ended up losing the weight as well. So she has a very, very unique perspective that she's going to share with us on this podcast. And we're talking all about if the smallest version of yourself is actually the happiest, best version of you. Now, we go through all of your hormonal issues. We talk through competing. We talk through lessons that we learned throughout this process. And we have both been trainers for over 10 years. So the knowledge that you're going to get in this podcast is invaluable. You got to listen. Let's get started. On the podcast today, I am joined with trainer Lindsey, who is a personal trainer, fitness nutrition specialist. She's a mother of 3. She's also the owner of Moxie by Lindsey, which is a virtual fitness program. And she's my personal friend, and she's a wealth of knowledge, and I love Lindsey. So I can't wait for you to learn from her as well. Welcome to the podcast, Lindsey. I'm so excited you're here. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I'm excited to be here.
I keep wanting to call you Trainer Lindsey instead of Lindsey.
That's fine. I answered either one. It's totally fine.
That's your handle. So Lindsey and I go way back.
Yes.
We have been trainers together at Ideal.
Yeah.
How long ago? That was like 5, 6
when did you
years
join?
ago?
Was it in like 2016?
Yeah, it was years ago.
Yeah.
And I just looked up to you so much. Like you kind of took me under your
Thank
wing.
you.
You were
You're
so
so
sweet.
sweet.
And ever since then, we bonded over competing together. Like we
Yes.
decided to do a fitness competition together,
Yes.
which was actually really fun to do with a group of girls.
Yes, I was going to say it was so fun. I mean, it had its ramifications, which we'll talk about, but it was fun at the time.
Yeah, it was.
It was very bonding.
It was very, very bonding. I feel like we know each other on a deeper level because of that experience.
It's like when you do something so hard with someone, then it just bonds you.
It does. It definitely does. So before we get into all of that, can you just tell our listeners a little bit of a background about who you are and what you do if they've never heard of you?
Yeah, for sure. So I have been training online in the fitness industry since about 2004, which is a long time. It's kind of like when online training was just becoming a thing. I had little kids at home. My kids now are 18, 16, and 13. Actually, they all have summer birthdays, so they're turning a year older this summer. But back at the time, they were, I think I had a 2-year-old and a baby or something, and I wanted to be a trainer. And so I just kind of started. I wanted something I can do from home. And it was kind of like I said, when online training was just starting, I just started like making, I wasn't even meal plans at the time. It was like nutrition check-ins and workouts. And then, macros came along. And then over time, I started an in-person boot camp program in my city. And then that's what led me to work with Ideal Shape and Ideal Fit and Ideal Raw. And then that's how I met Bree. And then I stayed with Ideal for about 5 years or so. And then I left in about 3 years ago. And then I have been doing my own thing since then. So.
And you're killing it. She has an awesome Instagram. If you guys want to go check her out, Trainer Lindsey.
Thank you.
She's the cutest. So I brought Lindsey on because I was like, you need to share your story with my followers because it is incredible. And the title of this podcast is, is the best version of you the smallest? Is that the best version of you? And I feel like a lot of women are constantly searching for the last, to lose the last 5 pounds. I'll be happy when I lose the last 5 pounds. And so I've been to that, and so have you, where we've been the smallest, leanest versions
Mhm.
possible,
Yeah.
physically possible of ourselves. I mean, I lost my period. Did you lose your period?
Yeah, for a whole year.
Entire year.
Yeah. I
So
remember
we were
it came back, I lost it in January, it was my last period, and then it came back on Christmas Day of that year, and I was like, "This is the best Christmas present I could ever have," and I've never taken it for granted or complained about my period ever since.
That's insane. So we
Yeah.
were literally the smallest version like we could be.
Yeah.
And my question for you is, do you feel that the best version of yourself is the smallest version?
No, definitely not. Um, I mean, on the flip side, which I can go into more of my story too, I also don't feel like the best version of myself is the biggest version I've ever been either. It's definitely
No.
in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. Like where you feel you are able to live a healthy lifestyle, but
Yes.
you also
Mhm.
enjoy your lifestyle.
Right, exactly, and feel confident and feel strong and fit, and I went through some things where I did not feel any of those things, you
Yeah.
know? But people were like, "Oh, you look so healthy," and I'm like, "Well, I sure don't feel good," you know?
Right. Right. It's all about how you feel. So let's
Yeah.
kind of talk about your story. So
Yeah,
tell
sure.
me about your competition journey and how it kind of impacted your outlook on your health and what
Yeah.
happened.
Well, I mean, if we had hours, I could tell you all the details, but I'll give you the shortened version.
Well, and
So
too, like the longer version too is on your Instagram. So if people want
yeah,
to go
true.
look at your story, she's literally documented everything.
Yeah,
So,
yes, thank you. Yeah, so I competed for a long time. Most people you talk to are like, "Oh yeah, I competed in a couple shows." So I started competing in 2009. And I competed in bikini from 2000 in 2009, 10 and 11. I went to nationals in 2011 and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I hate this. This is so dumb. All these girls look amazing. It's like such a crapshoot. Like this is stupid. I'm done," kind of thing. And then I just I didn't have any hormone issues at the time. I just lifted and like exercised and ate healthy for enjoyment and for lifestyle. And then 2013 comes around, 2 years later, and I'm starting to get like a competitive itch again. And a little thing about me is I am not athletic at all. Like I am not good at sports. I don't have great coordination.
hey,
Um
that really surprises me.
yeah, that's what everybody says. I don't know why, but that's what everybody says. And so for me, like to be competitive in something, there weren't many things I could be competitive in. But I could diet with the best of them, and I could lift weights, and so I finally found something that I felt like I was actually good at, you know. And so it was hard for me
Mhm.
to stop. And so in 2013, I was like, um, "Oh, the figure at the time was a lot smaller than it is now. Figure back then looked kind of how bikini looks now, and so it was just a very
Mhm.
fit, muscular, lean toned kind of look. Right now it figure competitors are huge, like bodybuilder looking type
Yeah.
girls, you know, but this wasn't how it was at the time. So I hired a coach and I was like, I think I want to compete in figure. It looks a little bit more athletic to me. And so I did. I competed in figure in 2013, 14, and 15. And then I tried to compete in 2016, but my coach was like, or I was trying to prep and I just was not losing weight. It wasn't coming off. I wasn't gaining weight, but I wasn't losing like I should have been for what I was doing. And so my coach was like, let's get your hormones checked. I looked at my hormones. My thyroid, my free T3 was a little bit low. So basically, we called off shows and I just kind of stopped competing at that point. And I was like, you know what? I think I probably should be done. Not Figure was growing bigger by the year, and I was like, I don't really like this look anymore. Let's call it good. So called it good. I was done competing once again. And then 2018 rolls around and I was like, I'm kind of bored. Like, I don't know about you, Bree, but do you ever just get a little bit bored in your fitness journey
Yes.
sometimes?
100%.
And sure, you can set a goal to do pull-ups, you can set a goal to squat, whatever it is, but sometimes it's not as exciting as like, you
Mhm.
know, competing or like
Yeah.
having a bigger goal. And I'm not a runner. I don't like that kind of thing. So I'd never even occurred to me to like run a marathon. I did not want to do that. So 2018 comes around and I was like, actually, now bikini division is looking kind of how figure division used to look, right? And so
Mhm.
I was like, well, let's just give it a try. I'm going to do one show, I'm going to do one competition, and, That's it. Just for fun, kind of document the story. It'll be kind of like something for social media, tell a story, that kind of
And
thing,
this is the one that we did together, right?
Yes, the Utah
In
one, right?
2018. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yep. But at the same time, I was like, well, if I'm going to go through all this prep work, I might as well do two. I might as well just do it twice, you know? And so I did one in Idaho and then one in Utah. They were back to back weekends. And I truly believe that if I would have stopped there, I probably would have been fine.
Hmm.
But I won my class in both those competitions, and the judges were like, you should go to nationals. You should go to nationals. And so when people are feeding you that, you're like, oh, okay, you know? And so I did end up going to 3 national shows that year. I think it was 3. Yeah, it was 3. One of which, the second one, I actually placed second. And I actually thought I had won. I was placed, for people who know about competing, I was placed first call outs in the center and never moved. So it's kind of like, it's kind of
Yeah.
a
What the
given.
heck?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
You
like
think
a
you're going to
mind game.
win. But that's kind of like a shoe in. Like if they move you around, sometimes you don't really know. But I was placed center, never moved. And then I was called out as second place that night. And so I was like, oh my gosh. Like, of course, any other scenario, I would have been thrilled with second place, but I thought I had won. And so to have
Yeah.
second place was like disappointing. And so anyway, I decided to wait 6 more weeks and go to nationals one more time to see if I could win and get my pro card. Anyway, didn't turn out. I placed 8th. And then after that is kind of, I don't know if you want me to go into that now or if that's another question. Um,
Well, I want you to tell me, how did you feel when you were competing?
okay, so how did I feel?
Because if you
Um,
guys know how she looked, like she was ripped out of her
yeah, I
mind.
was
Like
super lean.
every time I saw you, you were getting smaller and smaller
It
and
was
smaller.
weird. Like, you don't notice it at the time, you know? But then looking back at pictures, I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, I was so tiny. So, so tiny." And so, yeah, I did not feel great. Like, sure, it I always talk about it's kind of this weird paradox because you'll go to like I remember going to Costco and like just getting groceries and having people stop me and be like, "Oh my gosh, do you work out? You look so good." Or have people at the gym say, "Are you competing soon?" Oh my god, like you just get so much attention.
Yeah.
And of course that goes straight to your head and you think that you enjoy it in the moment, right? But
Mhm.
then what you don't see is all the times when I'm laying on my couch at 7 o'clock, just wishing I could go to bed because I was so hungry that I just wanted to wake up the next morning and have breakfast. Or
Mhm.
the times when I was sitting out with the kids by the pool or having a fire and not having any s'mores and just like totally disengaged because your mind is just dead. Like you're so
Yes.
exhausted to even like think anything, you know? Or going
Yes.
to the gym and just feeling like shaky because your blood sugar is so low and you don't have any energy, but actually you do have some energy because you had enough caffeine before your workout. So you're kind of hopped up on caffeine at the same time. It's like just, it's so weird. So, like, you
Yes.
feel, it's like superficially you feel awesome, but inside you feel like dead inside. Would
Well,
you
and do you
agree?
know what, yeah, well, do you know what's funny is when people would be like, "Oh my gosh, you look so good. I want to look like that." Do you,
Yeah.
my response to them would be like, "You don't want to have to do what I've had to
Yes.
do to look like this." I would tell them
Yes.
that. I'd be like, "If I could not be this lean and eat a little more normal, I would take that any day."
Oh, yes.
And I
Yes.
was
But it's
even
like you're so
telling,
deep in it, you can't quit. And especially you
right,
had
you
so much
can't.
drama going on with
No,
your
no, no.
situation. And yeah.
Yeah, no, you can't. You like, I couldn't quit because I was like, I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna see
Yeah.
this through.
Yeah.
But like even on my Instagram, when like I remember having young girls be like, "How do I look like you?" And I was like,
Oh,
"You don't want to look like this." Like
right.
I
It's
was
the
like, "This is
worst.
golden handcuffs, you guys." Like
Yeah.
if I eat one thing off my meal plan, like I'll feel bloated. Like
Yes.
like it is
Oh, yeah,
golden
it's the
handcuffs.
worst. I remember thinking like, "Oh my like, extra veggies can bloat me or this will bloat me," and now, like, when you sit at a heavier weight, you don't even notice those things.
No, no. And
You don't
and your
notice those
body
little
can,
fluctuations.
yeah, and your body can handle it because
Yes.
it's used to eating normal
More
foods.
variety.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember like the slightest thing off plan, it was like, holy cow, my body just freaked out because it
Yes.
wasn't used to it. And
Right.
so I do remember that. And I remember the same thing. I was shaky. I was tired. I'd take naps every day because I couldn't make it through the day because I had
Yep.
no
But then at night,
energy.
you don't sleep very well because your cortisol is sky
No.
high. Yeah.
Yes. And you're so hungry. I remember my coach being like, just take more caffeine pills.
Oh,
I'm like, okay, this is not healthy. Like,
yeah. Yes.
but
Exactly.
we looked awesome.
Yeah.
So, so I'm like, the smallest version of us wasn't necessarily our best version.
No,
And that's
absolutely not.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
for
tell
sure.
me about how what your biggest hurdles were coming out of your competition season and what kind of happened.
Yeah. So I finished competing and I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna reverse diet back up to my maintenance. So my like happy weight is right around 140 to 145-ish. And on my last competition, I was 116. So I was
That's insane,
it
Lindsay.
is actually total, it's very insane. And
Wait, I got down to 116 and I'm 5'2".
yeah,
So
I'm 5'6". Yeah,
that's insane.
I
Like that's
know.
how tiny she was, just to
It
give
is.
you a picture.
And I maintained around 120 to 125 through the whole summer. So to hold 15 pounds less than my body wants to hold is really hard on your hormones, to push it for that long. Um,
Can I ask you one
yeah.
question?
Uh-huh.
How, if someone's listening to this, how would they know what their happy weight is
Yeah, that's a
when you
great
say
question.
that?
I would say it is the weight that your body naturally maintains when you're living the lifestyle you want to live, because your happy weight is mental as well. It's not necessarily
Mhm.
just what your body, like liking what your body looks like. If I'm 100% honest, I like my body physically a little bit leaner than it is right now, but I
Yeah.
like the lifestyle that I can live
Yes.
right now. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Same.
Yeah.
Yep. Same thing. Like I can basically eat whatever I want right now
Yeah.
and I stay the same weight. I don't
Yep.
gain
Same.
and I don't lose.
Yep.
But I'm like, oh, I really like how I look when I'm like 5
Yeah.
5 pounds, a little bit 5 pounds lighter, but I'm not
Uh-huh.
willing to do what I have to do that because I
Yeah.
love my lifestyle right now.
Yep. Same here. Same. So yeah, after I was like 116, I fully knew that I was going to gain about 25 pounds. I wanted to, I did not want to stay that small. And so I just started reverse dieting. I was gaining weight. Um, Reverse dieting, your audience probably knows if they listen to you, but just slowly adding calories in each week, weights going up. My goal was not to maintain my weight throughout this. I'll reiterate that. But about November or so, I got to about 140, like high 130s, and my weight stuck there for about 3 or 4 weeks. And I was like, cool, I'm back to my spot. I'm great. My calories are about at maintenance. I'm done. Move on to like lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
But then in like December, my weight started ticking up again and going up and up and up. And I remember hitting like 145 and being like, okay, like what's going on? Let's stop now. Okay. And then I remember hitting 150 and then 155 and then
And you
160.
were like eating the same. Like you
Yes.
weren't changing your diet.
No. I mean, I would go between like, okay, should I cut calories back a little bit? I didn't go into like an extreme deficit, but I tried like cutting 200 or 300. Okay, no, that didn't do anything. Let's go back up to maintenance. Let's try, I did about 6 months at doing strict keto, because I had a lot of gut issues that healed up for me. And that actually really helped my thyroid. I'll tell you that story really quick in just a minute. But I ended up gaining 50 pounds over the course of that year. And so the main issues I was dealing with were low thyroid, high cortisol, and estrogen dominance. So I had high estrogen and really low progesterone. Everything else was and high blood sugar.
Which
So
I have to tell you, I
yeah.
had almost every single one of those, but add adrenal fatigue.
Oh yeah. So your cortisol had gotten so high that it just tanked then, huh?
Yeah, so we had the exact same things. Okay, keep
Yes.
going.
Right. So I hired a keto coach because I had done all this research on how it can help your gut and how your gut is so intertwined with your endocrine system. And I did keto for a while, and that's what allowed me to get completely off of my thyroid medication, because my free T3 went from like a 1.8. Ideally, you want it between 3 and 4. It went from like a 1.8 up to an 8. And so when it was at
That's
8, I was
awesome.
having like a racing heart rate.
Oh,
I
that's not awesome.
Yeah, no, that it was awful. Like, and I was holding weight because you can, I mean, like gaining weight still.
On
Because
keto? When you were on keto?
yes, yeah, I didn't lose any weight on keto. Nope. I
Okay.
really believe that my body, there's no scientific evidence or backing to this, but I really believe the woo woo stuff where my body needed to feel safe and it needed to feel fed and like I wasn't going to keep like starving it. Not that I was starving. My calories actually never really got that low when I was competing. It was that I was so lean for so long, you know?
Lindsay, that's not woo-woo stuff. That's like 100% what your
Yeah.
body needed.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It is for sure. But there's like, I mean, I can't explain exactly why
Yeah.
that happened. It just, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And so I had talked to a lot of people that the same thing happened to, and every single one of them said, you know, after a year after I started gaining, I all of a sudden just started losing and it kind of just fell off. And that is exactly what happened to me. I remember the first week of September, 1 year after my last competition, I remember I stepped on the scale and it was like down a pound. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I'll step on it again. Like, it must be broken. That's weird. It's gone up a pound every single week for the last 52 weeks, you know?
Yeah.
And low, like my waist measurement was down a half an inch. I was like, huh, that's cool. Okay, interesting. Next week, it's down a little more. The next week, it's down a little more. I lost about 10 pounds, really, like, kind of without trying. I mean, I was watching what I eat, but no different than the previous year,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Um, and then after that, I had to do some other things with my hormones where, you know, I did all sorts of things from, you know, taking time off, like taking rest weeks from the gym, cutting out high intensity cardio, cutting out lifting that has like high intensity supersets, lifting to failure. I really toned down my workouts while I was getting my cortisol in check. You probably did the same things with adrenal
Yep.
fatigue, really just
Mhm.
focusing on, you know, your parasympathetic nervous system and just, you know, rest, digest, like restorative yoga, walking outside, all that kind of stuff, getting enough sleep. And through working on that for a long time, I was able to, I did have to do diet phases to lose the rest of it, but my body actually responded, whereas it
Right.
wouldn't respond before. And so now I've been about 140 to 145 for actually almost a year and have maintained that. So
That's
yeah,
awesome. And you
pretty
look
crazy.
great. You look
Thank
healthy.
you.
Like, you found your happy balance.
Yes.
So, my question is, what do you think you've learned, like overall,
Mhm.
from your journey of being shredded, then having hormonal issues, and then healing yourself?
Yeah. So I've learned that it's just that balance and that middle area that is so
Mhm.
important. I have so many clients that like, um, you know, just want to get to as lean as they possibly can. And I'm like, or like, oh, they'll just kill themselves for the last like 2, 3, 5 pounds. And I'm like,
Yep.
first of all, do you know how much work it's going to take to maintain that? And
Yep.
are you willing to do that? And there's just so much more happiness that can be found in that middle area, you know? I had like a little epiphany the other day. We were outside having like our first fire, like bonfire in the backyard with the kids
Mhm.
and of the year, and we had s'mores. And I'm not currently tracking macros. I hadn't planned for it, which is fine in the lifestyle that I live right now. But if I was like dieting, you'd have to be like, okay, is this an untracked meal or do I have the
Right.
macros for that? You have to think about it for a minute, you
Right.
know? And it was just so nice to be able to go outside and have like a 200 calorie s'more. Like, granted, I didn't have 5 s'mores, I had
Yeah.
one s'more.
Yeah.
And it was just such a great, like, relaxing experience, you know? And to be in
Yes.
a place where you can have that and still feel 85% comfortable with how we look. I don't say 100% because I feel like we're women. And if we are striving for 100% satisfaction with our bodies, that's when we're never going to get there. And that's when we're
Mhm.
going to be constantly killing ourselves for that last couple of pounds. So
Right.
I feel like when you get almost there and you love your lifestyle, like that's when you stop because that's so much more maintainable. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. I actually have a whole podcast on does your effort match your expectations?
Yeah.
And I feel like when we make peace with that, when we're like, listen, I love this lifestyle. Like,
Hmm.
I love my lifestyle and I feel healthy. That's enough for me to like be okay with not being shredded. Let's talk about bedding. I had no idea what a difference having good quality sheets makes when you sleep. So I've had the same sheets for like 7 years. It's embarrassing. But I recently got Cozy Earth's best-selling bamboo sheet set. I was blown away by how soft it was and the fact that it's temperature regulating. It was also on Oprah's favorite things in 2018, so I knew I had to try it. And I love that it offers luxury pillows, sheets, blankets, so it's really a one-stop shop. The best part about it is that it even has an amazing warranty. So, Cozy Earth provided an exclusive offer for my listeners today, and it's 35% off site wide when you use the code Body by Bree. I promise you are not going to want to miss this because I'm now going to be a Cozy Earth customer for life. After I had Mila, I got pregnant right after a competition.
Yeah.
So I think that's what kind of messed me up with my hormones. And I had
Right.
a
They went
really
from
hard,
like totally depleted to all of a sudden you need all
yes.
these different hormones.
Yeah, it was
Right.
super weird for my body. And so
Yeah.
it took me a while to lose the baby weight after Mila.
Uh-huh.
And like my set point went from like 125 to 130. Like now it's just
Mm.
130 is where I sit. And I
Yeah.
used to be 125 my whole life.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I keep thinking, okay, get your set point back down to 125. But mentally, I'm like, no, I'm so
You know
happy.
what, Bree?
I can't
I
do
am
it.
like in the same place as you because I am like closer to 145, but always before this last whole experience of the last couple years, my set point was like just under or closer to 140 or just under. And so it's like same thing, 5 pounds. And I actually tried to do like a fat loss phase a few months ago and I got like 3 weeks in and nothing was changing. Kind of like when your body gets so happy at a
Yeah.
place, you have to kind of push it hard to get things to happen.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't willing to do it. And I was like, actually,
Yeah.
it's not worth it. Never mind.
Same thing. I tried 2 different times and I was like, I can't do it. I'm just so
Yeah,
happy. I'm like,
exactly.
I don't even have the desire to track macros right now because I'm
No,
just
me
so
neither.
happy. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
just like, and that's what I always try to teach my clients. And I believe you try to teach your clients too, is like, you don't need to track macros forever. Like once
Right.
you get to your
It's
happy
just a
balance,
tool. Yep.
it's a tool and you know what works for your body.
Right.
You have the balance, you can eat healthy, you can have a treat here and there.
Yeah.
Like this weekend we were in Mammoth and I made cinnamon rolls. I didn't even think twice about eating a cinnamon roll and
Yeah.
I never felt guilt. I
Yeah.
was fine. Like it's just, and I know to my body when, oh, okay, you've been eating a little too much sugar because you feel gross.
Yeah.
Like, let's eat healthy.
Or
It's
you eat
not
healthy because you want to. You
because
want
you
to find
want
that
to.
balance. Yeah.
Yes, you want to.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, like,
It's right.
yes, this happy balance that we're talking about is the goal. Like,
Yes,
this is the
exactly.
goal.
And you do have to kind of go through some learning to get there. Like I remember when I was newer to all of this, nutrition and lifting, like it was I wanted to look a certain part more than I care to now. I'm kind of over that. Like,
Same.
you know,
Same.
I just don't really care
Yes.
as much anymore. I do kind of think that this social like the social media environment has changed a bit. I feel like in 2015 it was more like I would get nasty hate comments of like you call yourself a trainer, you're not even very lean. And like I was super lean back then. I would get a
What?
lot of
That's
hate just
awful.
yeah, it was Facebook's the worst. I would get more hate on Facebook than Instagram. But you never hear that anymore. People are way more like, no, health, looking healthier as opposed to looking leaner is more embraced, you know? So I think that's a
Right.
great thing.
Yeah. Well, and in my mind, I just want to be the opposite of obsessive.
Yes.
So
Uh-huh.
like for my daughters, like I don't want them to see me being obsessive about
Yeah.
my body.
Yeah.
I want to be able to I want them to see me like enjoying the s'more at the
Yes.
at the campfire and
Yep,
then
exactly.
also see me making a salad and working out and just feeling confident. Like that's the example I want to set for my girls and for my followers and for my clients and
Yep, I totally agree.
I'm just not about the obsession and I'm
Yeah.
so over having to be lean all the time. I'm just
Yeah.
over it. It's
We've
almost
even
like for me, I'm like, ugh, I don't want to
Yes.
do that
I
anymore.
know. It's like you want to be the opposite. We've even kind of started changing a little bit how we coach our clients to have, include more phases of their nutrition, have more diet breaks, encourage longer periods at maintenance, even
Yes.
moving towards more coaching with just tracking protein and calories instead of all three
Yes.
macros. Um, and that just allows for more flexibility too.
Yep. And more adherence. Because really,
Yes.
it's just what you can stay consistent with is what you should do.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, I love that. So, what do you have a different outlook on what you believe health is now after your journey?
Yeah. So I would say probably, even 10 years ago, I would look at health more as like a combination of, you know, actually like your health markers, like your medical markers and how you looked. I didn't, well, I should say, I didn't think of more as much of how you felt mentally as I do now. So now I
Right.
realize the importance of that lifestyle and mental aspect and how
Mhm.
it is just as much, if not more so important. Probably, I mean, more so, definitely more so than how you look, but just as important as your actual like health markers, like, your cholesterol, your hormones, like all that kind of
Right.
stuff, of course, is important. But your confidence levels, how you feel, even things like your patience levels with your family, your happiness, how
Yes.
you sleep, your digestion, all that kind of stuff is equally important.
Yes, I love that so much. And like your energy levels and like your
Yes.
relationship with food. Like
Yeah.
I don't
Yes.
sit there and think
Absolutely.
about food anymore ever
No, no, not at all.
because I know like whatever I want to eat, I can eat just
Yeah.
in moderation. So it doesn't consume me. Like when I was competing, I was literally just sitting there staring at donuts. Like
Yeah. And
I
it's
would
like,
like
but
smell
you have
them.
the education to, be moderate or to have moderation in all things and be like, okay, well, I'm going to have this and okay, there's no protein in that. I'm just going to throw a protein shake with it. Perfect.
Yeah.
Balanced meal, you know?
Yep, exactly. You totally make it work.
Yeah.
So, what is your advice for women who are constantly trying to lose the last 5 pounds and they believe, like, oh, I'll be happy when? What is your advice to that person?
Yeah. So what we have, I mean, a lot of clients that go through this and just people on, social media and things like that. And I try to help them, first of all, realize, okay, that last couple pounds is going to be super hard to maintain. If you want to do it just because you want to do something hard and just prove to yourself you can, that's one thing. But no, I kind of walk them through what we do afterwards and how a lot of times you're not going to maintain that loss. But oftentimes I try and coach them about, this 5 pound buffer here is what allows you to have the s'mores, have the pizza, have the cinnamon rolls in Mammoth, have, the
Mhm.
snow cone in Hawaii. Like I'll have all these experiences around food that you can't always have when you're leaner. Because your body doesn't
Right.
handle it quite as well. It gives you having that extra 5 pounds on you gives you so much more flexibility and freedom and just kind of like you said, like you're not thinking about food all the time. So I guess just that mental freedom with food.
Yep, I love it. So, our takeaway is the goal is to find your happy balance
Yes.
where you feel healthy and fit, but you actually love the lifestyle that you're living.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
I
It's
love
the
it.
most
Thank
important
you
part.
so much, Lindsay. That was
Yeah.
so helpful. And I
You're
think it'll be
welcome.
helpful too for anyone like wanting to compete. I'm not discouraging it, but you do have to do it a healthy way. You have to have
Yes.
healthy boundaries. It definitely can cause a little bit of body dysmorphia. Like it is
Absolutely.
hard. So you have to think if it's worth it or
Yeah.
not.
I
So,
do think that if someone was just going to compete once or twice really close together and do it in a healthy way and then come right out of it, that there are ways you can do it
yeah.
healthfully.
Yeah, you can. You definitely can.
My
So,
problem was going for too long,
yeah,
me
for
personally.
sure.
So,
Definitely. That was me. I'm like, okay, I did it. I'm out. I'm
yeah.
done.
Yes.
Never doing that again.
Yeah, your coach pushed you very hard. Very, very
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah. I had a very different experience than you had,
Yeah.
but that's okay. That's all right.
Yes, it is.
So, okay, Lindsay, let's tell people where they can find you if they want to like look you up.
Yeah, I'm just Trainer Lindsey on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, awesome. Do you have a
So,
website you want to shout
yeah,
out?
my website is moxiebylindsey.com.
Cool. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for being on,
Yeah,
Lindsay.
you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Okay, talk to you later.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us in today's episode. If you liked the content and want to hear more, remember to hit that subscribe button and write a review. As a small business owner, I appreciate it more than you know. If you are looking for a program to help with self-confidence, to lose weight, get in shape, and work on your mental, physical, and emotional health, check out my training programs on www.bodybybree.com. My team and I help to hold you accountable through the Body by Bree app, where you log in to see all your workouts, custom meal plan made specifically for you and your needs, and communication through the messenger. You are never alone when you're on the Body by Bree training program. Click the link in the show notes to get more information on how to transform your life from the inside out.